Council President Kate Stewart. I'm Jordan Lindsay. Reporters, if you still need permission to record, please note that in the chat. And if you have any questions throughout this briefing, you can note that in the chat as well or raise your hand accordingly. Now I'll toss it to Council President Stewart for opening remarks. Council President, to you.
Thank you very much, Jordan. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I want to begin today by highlighting an upcoming informational webinar tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. that the Council is hosting in coordination with the County Executive, Mark Elridge, Senator Chris Van Hollen, and Congressman Jamie Raskin. As you all know, the federal workforce is facing historic changes due to the current administration's irresponsible decisions. Many of our residents are facing job uncertainty and attacks on their fundamental rights, which is why it is so important that now, more than ever, we come together to show our support for community members and provide resources that can help them. We have a webpage available titled United in Service and Support that includes the link to join tomorrow's webinar, and we'll also outline the upcoming webinar we'll hold through July. We will be hosting these webinars approximately once every 2 weeks to provide residents with critical information on topics like health insurance and unemployment, continuing education and workforce development, and local assistance programs to help with things like utility bills. We are doing these webinars every couple of weeks to have a place people can turn to for information as situations change and to receive the most up-to-date information. As always, though, residents can contact individual council member offices if they need immediate assistance, or call 311. I encourage residents to submit their questions for tomorrow evening through the web form on the page ahead of the meetings. No registration is required to join. We will be streaming these webinars live on Facebook and YouTube, and they will be posted on the council's website to watch anytime. Our state partners are working hard to share information as well with residents during these challenging times. And I wanted to share that Delegate Lori Charkoudian will be hosting an unemployment insurance webinar on Thursday, February 27th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. The goal of this webinar is to help residents navigate the unemployment insurance system. Check out her social media for more information on how to register. Also, this Thursday, February 27th at 4:30 p.m., the Office of Community Partnerships, in partnership with the Foundation for Financial Education, is hosting a Federal Employee Survival Guide seminar. These seminars are designed to address career transition, leadership changes, and mental health support that many are facing in these challenging times. Registration is required, and interested residents should contact the Office of Community Partnerships for more information. All Montgomery County leaders stand united in protecting the rights of our residents during these confusing and uncertain times. We will continue working together to support our community regardless of the decisions being made in Washington. Now I wanted to turn to the mental health convening we held on Friday. This also continues our topic on resources. Last Friday, we had the pleasure of hosting a mental health convening with more than 130 providers and service professionals who work to deliver mental health services for Montgomery County residents. Mental health is a central priority to my council presidency this year, and I also realized that addressing the critical issue requires collective effort and action. A one-size-fits-all approach simply doesn't work in mental health. Social determinants of health manifest differently for all of us, which is why it is so important that we join together to discuss what's working and how we can expand those efforts. During the meeting, we heard from leaders in our health and human services, our school system, from our nonprofit advocates such as EveryMind, and many more about the initiatives that are already in place. And we discussed and shared insights, identified gaps, and strengthened our collective efforts to support mental health. By focusing on early prevention and intervention, we can reduce the stigma, address issues before they escalate, and create healthier, more supportive communities. Unlike the persistent targeting and diminishing of individuals and the erasure of identities that we see happening at the federal level, in Montgomery County, we are dedicated to affirming and honoring the unique identity of every individual. I want to take a moment to recognize and celebrate the progress being made in how mental health is being addressed in our county, while also recognizing there is always more work to do to ensure we cover all areas effectively. For our Health and Human Services, we heard about the Youth Safety Initiative, which utilizes a holistic interagency approach to get at the root causes of youth mental health and substance use issues. In our Montgomery County Public Schools, they're working on mental health, wellness, well-being, and student services, and deploy student well-being teams that are active in all 211 schools. Another example is our MoCo Reconnect, which is a youth drop-in center in Wheaton. It helps disconnected and homeless youth with a special focus on the LGBTQIA+ community to help them build skills and resources they need to succeed. The staff help LGBTQIA+ youth understand their identity and do workshops and events to bring young people together. Another example is EveryMind, which provides therapeutic mentorship, individuals and family therapy, case management, and more for students and families. And they do so much more, like run our 988 call number for people who need mental health assistance, and that is available 24 hours a day. It's important that we build on these initiatives to create even greater and lasting impact. As far as next steps are concerned, keep an eye out for the newsletter we put out, because we will always have our mental health corner that highlights information in our community. And as a reminder, our newsletter is shared in English, Amharic, traditional Chinese, and Spanish. In addition to that, we will be highlighting the different efforts to address mental health in our community through a mental health video series that will be coming out soon. And then we will be hosting multiple conversations this year in various formats to ensure accessibility and engagement for all of our residents across the county on this very important issue. Now I want to turn to our council meeting tomorrow. Tomorrow, the council will vote on a resolution to approve the executive regulation for the Building Energy Performance Standards, also known as BEPS. The Transportation and Environment Committee held 7 discussions on this over the past year, and the council held a work session on these regulations on February 11th of this year. I want to thank the Transportation and Environment Chair, Chair Glass, for leading the committee and engaging community stakeholders throughout this whole process. The current iteration of the regulations include modifications developed by our Department of Environmental Protection based on the robust feedback they received and the additional benchmarking information they now have. The regulation is required by Bill 16-21, which modified the county's environmental benchmarking law to include county-owned commercial and multifamily buildings to meet the long-term energy performance standards. The regulation we'll be voting on tomorrow would set numerical site energy use intensity, or EUI, performance standards for building groups, define how renewable energy will be incorporated into performance metrics, and define the elements required in the building performance improvement plans. The building sector accounts for 50% of the county's energy emissions. That's why these standards are so important, and why, as part of the multiple work sessions, the T&E committee spoke to key stakeholders representing our hospitals, affordable housing, life sciences and technology, multifamily housing, faith community, the Montgomery County Green Bank, the Maryland state agencies, and the U.S. Department of Energy. Hearing from all these stakeholders and residents as we review the legislation like this is a crucial step as we make every effort to build a greener future for Montgomery County. In addition to that, tomorrow on Wednesday, we will be hosting a public hearing on the Bethesda Minor Master Plan Amendment at 7 p.m. at the Bethesda Chevy Chase Regional Services Center. This minor master plan is focused on the implementation of the 2017 Bethesda Downtown Plan and doesn't reopen the entire plan. Existing zoning, parks, transportation, and other recommendations remain unchanged. It remains improvements to the implementation related to new parks, transportation infrastructure, a new recreation center, and affordable housing within a planned area of a roughly 450 acres. Sign-ups for the public hearing close tomorrow, February 25th at 5 p.m. And finally, today, this afternoon, I want to remind everyone that county leaders will be renaming the executive office building in honor of Isiah Leggett. The renaming of one of our largest and noteworthy buildings in county government is a fitting tribute to a local leader who embodies public service and a commitment to fostering good governance. Ike's 28 years in public service as county executive, council president, and council member were not without challenges, as he saw Montgomery County through its worst financial crisis since the Depression. Ike's steady leadership put Montgomery County on solid footing by making sure that every step of the way our government remained one that works for everyone, with dedicated public officials and a commitment to service and equity, a legacy we carry on to this day. Ike blazed a trail for many others as the first African American elected countywide for what he accomplished and how he led. He is a mentor to many, and he always made sure to bring a diverse coalition of voices from every corner of the county to the table. I hope everyone will be able to join us for the celebration this afternoon as we honor his legacy and the foundation he built for our county's future. In addition to that, I wanted to let folks know that the Purple Line Small Business Grants program is now open. Eligible small businesses located along the Purple Line corridor may receive grants up to $50,000 to offset the impact that Purple Line construction closures or detours may have on their business operations. The first round of applications are due March 14th. More information on the eligibility requirements can be found at purpleline.com/small businesses grants, and all applications need to be submitted to business@purpleLineMD.com. I think that's it for me today. Jordan, I'll turn it back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Council President Stewart. Again, reporters, if you have any questions, you can note that in the chat or you can raise your hand. Also, the webinar link for tomorrow is also in the chat if you need to view that as well. Reporters, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or note that in the chat. I did see that we had a question from Talia Morales with Univision. Talia, did you still have a question?
Yes, thank you so much for taking my questions and your time. Just in general, how many residents in Montgomery are affected by these changes under the Trump's administration? And do you have any count of how many Latino or Hispanic are impacted?
Great. Talia, thank you so much for your question. So we know in Montgomery County that according to the most recent data we have, about over 77,000 federal employees reside in Montgomery County. At this moment, because everything has been in a great deal of flux, people hearing they are put on leave or have been fired and then rehired. We don't have an actual count right now of how many federal employees or contractors have been let go. We have information about some specific businesses or government agencies. For example, a week ago, NIH did let go of 1,000 employees. That's the National Institute of Health. So we're keeping a close contact with our Secretary of Labor in the state and making sure that we're looking at those residents who have lost their job and may be connected to resources. I don't believe we have the breakdown by race and ethnicity, but we can check with the Secretary of Labor at the State Department and see what information might be available from them.
Great. Thank you, Talia. Is that all the questions you had?
Yes, for now, thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Reporters, any other questions? Going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Back to you, Council President. Thank you.
Great. I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us today. I hope to see folks this afternoon at the renaming of the executive office building and possibly tomorrow evening when we do our webinar to provide resources to members of our community. So thank you again for joining us today.